Hey guys, it's Jeremiah here. I decided to do my district profile on Southern Kern Unified School District, which is a smaller school district located in Roseman, California, just about 10-15 minutes outside of Lancaster. The school sites in the district are Rising Stars Early Learning Academy, Roseman Elementary, West Park Elementary, Tropical Middle School, Ascend Academy, Rare Earth High School, and Roseman High School, which also has college courses available on campus. So what are some of the defining characteristics of this district? There's a large amount of low-income families. There's also a high amount of diversity, a consistent growth rate as we will see through the years, and higher annual teacher salaries as compared with surrounding districts. Roseman SKUSD's starting salary for beginning teachers is about $8,000 more than other districts in the surrounding area. There's a Tehachapi School District where their teachers are starting off making, I believe, $34,000, and Mojave, their teachers are making a little bit more. But Roseman their teachers are making $42,000 to begin with, also with benefits included, which is really nice. What is the demographic composition of the district? So as we see these enrollment trends in 2012, 2013, 2014, it stayed roughly the same. And all of a sudden in 2015, we saw a spike of a couple hundred students up to 2016, about 3,400 students, to the following year, 2017, 2018, which was actually 3,560 students. It's hard to put that on this graph because some of the websites that I was able to find were not quite up to date. I'm not sure if it's districts not reporting or the California government dragging their feet with this information. So some of this information is a little outdated, but we'll try to keep up as much as we can to keep you guys on pace. So here was the actual enrollment of the schools. As we see, a nice steadily increase here. Really right here it's steady, but we just all of a sudden, boom, we see a jump. The district is also located about 15 minutes or so from Edwards Air Force Base. So we see a high amount of students coming in and out because of the military families moving to and from the district. So the amount of them coming in is just about the same as the amount leaving, which keeps it the same, but we start losing attendance, 88 average daily attendance, with the amount of kids coming and going all the time. So here's the demographics for the 3,560 students from last year. There was 29% white students, 53.7% Hispanic, 11.4% were African American, and 5.7% were deemed as others. Special learning opportunities. Some ELL, there is 17.4%. So we saw a high amount of Hispanic learners, but only 17.4% of them are ELL, which is kind of a higher percentage, but taking into the fact that there is such a high amount of Hispanic students in the district, that's not quite extraordinary. What is quite extraordinary is 69.6, it's actually 72.6%, as I found on another website, 72.6% of free reduced lunches. As we saw, the low income families is very high in the district, thus this number also being high. Also, special education, there's 14.2% in the special education, which could range from learning disabilities to actual physical disabilities. And we will see some numbers also later on that do not help with the special education number or any of these other numbers, because as district, everybody is in the red. With the ADA, we see the number of students, and look at the average daily attendance. 94% usually consistent, but look at this spike in 2014, 2015. I was kind of taken aback by this. 99.6%. I did not believe this to be true, but every single database that I looked at, 99.6% of students attended school in 2014, 2015. I don't know if there was something in the water or what it was, but whatever they were doing was working. But it's dropped down in the last few years. And actually 2017, 2018 actually dropped down to a little bit over 93%. So we see a hike in numbers of students coming in, but we're seeing a downturn in the average daily attendance, which does not coincide well with each other, especially when it comes to money. There's 162 full-time teachers in the past year. That's up from 147 from a couple years ago. The average teaching experience is 7 years. So with this average teaching experience, with the number of first and second year teachers being 67, which is a high number for out of 162, for this to be still all the way up to 7 years, there's also quite a big amount of very experienced teachers, which helps the younger teachers get through all the turmoils that come throughout the school year, which is very nice in the district. Everybody is really working together. Everybody knows they're in a tough time right now, and instead of raising fists and getting pitchforks and calling everything out, they're working together and trying to get through it. It also helps that the teacher to student ratio isn't too bad, a little bit couple over the NCLB, No Child Left Behind, hopes of 20-1, but 22-1 isn't too horrible. So what are the recent district financial trends? They are not good, my friends. This was taken from, like I said, some of these websites were a little bit outdated. This was from 2013, 2014, which was the most recent I could get on it. But let's look at the revenue. 29, a little bit over 29, close to $30 million, which comes out to $9,870 per student. That's pretty good revenue, you would think, right? But look at the expenditures. We're looking at almost just about $6 million more dollars in expenditures than we had in revenue. So the amount of money we needed for each student was about $2,000 more per student that they did not have for the district. Here's some local funding sources. The Local Control Funding Formula, also known as LCFF. This was from just recently, 2017, 2018. The total funding was $32 million, but as we can see here, once again, close to $34 million in expenditures that were, so once again, we're seeing a turn for the worse here. Not as bad as the $6 million, but still the district is in the red. But this past year, or the upcoming year, I'm sorry, based on the LCAP, we're going to take that $6 million down to the $1 million, and we're going to cut that in half. The total general fund budget expenditures, based on the LCAP for SKUSD, is a little over $7 million for the 2018-2019 school year. The total funds budgeted for planned actions to meet the LCAP are $7,540,000. So we're taking those millions of dollars, we're getting them lower by the year. But what we're seeing, like I say, with the average daily attendance being so low, talking with the vice principal at West Park Elementary, Ed Shevlin, he told me that for every 1% increase or decrease in average daily attendance, so if we have barely at 93% this year, if it boosts up to 94%, that comes out to about roughly $1.5 million in funding per year. So just boosting that ADA up just a little bit would take this red number and actually help get them back into the positive. So what is the district's strategic plan, or LCAP priorities? The district used to have 7 LCAP goals, but they found it a little bit cumbersome and difficult, so they narrowed it down to a 3-goal approach for 2017-2020 LCAP. And these are the 3 goals. Goal 1, improve academic achievement for all students. Goal 2, develop a healthy school climate that supports the social, emotional, and physical needs of all students. And Goal 3, engage families and community in effective educational partnerships. So they're looking to increase or improve services. Low-income students, like I said, are at 73%. That's 3 out of 4 students is going to be low income in the district, which is sometimes tough to stomach, but it is what it is, and everybody just works with each other. There's amazing support throughout the district with people donating backpacks or donating supplies to help these children. But we're seeing that a lot more from big companies, which is nice, but it's not quite as local as they would like. But I mean, they're not going to turn down free things to help the students, are they? ELLs are about 17.2%. What's huge is this last one right down here. Chronic absenteeism continues to be a major concern. The percentage of chronically absent students was 14.7% in 2017-2018, but an alarming 26% for the African American subgroup. So we're seeing a high amount for chronic absentees, about 15%, but look at this. 1 out of every 4 African American students is chronically absent. That is uncalled for, and we need to figure out where the disconnect and where that divide is to get that number way lower. And one way to do that is capturing kids' hearts. This is this has been implemented in the entire district this year. And what capturing kids' hearts is to basically make kids feel more welcome at school, make them feel more excited to come to school, where they're not having so much social anxiety or fear. And one of the goals for capturing kids' hearts, it says that research has shown that the suspension rate will decrease and attendance and academic success will increase. And how they're going to implement capturing kids' hearts is basically making contact with them every day. Make eye contact, make a physical contact, high five, fist bump, whatever it takes, and making sure that students feel welcome and that they're excited to be at school and aren't saying, oh, I feel sick, I don't want to go to school, because something is going on there that they do not want to be there. So what recent changes have happened in the district? Let me tell you, a whole lot. A couple years ago, the district adopted a new ELA and math curriculum, which teachers are finally coming around to getting the hang of it, but there's a little learning period there. But also the district is undergoing drastic turnover with from top to bottom. There's a new interim superintendent. The superintendent just retired this past summer. The new interim superintendent is Leanne Hargis. She got boosted up. There's new principals moving all over the place. As of these have actually been filled. Open principal positions 2 weeks before school. They've just been filled, but there was quite an amount of coming and going, moving around places to places. West Park Elementary, in fact, had the principal that's been there for the last few years is moving back home to Delaware, and the vice principal that's been there for the last few years is actually taking over the principalship at Roseman Elementary. So West Park actually does have a new vice principal and new principal. As we saw, the district is in the red and undergoing major cutbacks. RES a couple years ago just remodeled the entire school, so that took a huge dip into the budget, which they're still trying to find a way to recover from. And also, students are going to be switching this year from RES to WS, West Park and Roseman. And what that is Roseman and West Park are separated basically by the 14 freeway. There were students that were on the Roseman Elementary side that were going to West Park, and students on the West Park side going to Roseman. And so what they've done is they cut the lines to where basically students on Roseman Elementary side are actually going to be going to Roseman, and West Park going to West Park, which is leading to some difficulties. Students having to change. They've been at one school for 2-3 years, having to go to another school, or just people not knowing when the school starts, what the policies are, or anything like that. So it's been very difficult. School just started last week, and there's a high amount of absentees, but hopefully that settles down once everybody gets settled in. Major budget overhaul has resulted in many cutbacks and layoffs. There's been many positions that have been gotten rid of. West Park does not have a Mod Severe program for special education. They also have lost many of their para-educators because of the budget cutbacks. So where teachers are needing help with in the classroom with para-educators, they're not receiving it. So that 22-to-1 number, which may not seem very high, is very difficult when you have students with learning disabilities and ELL students, and you're expected to help all those students but have absolutely zero aides in your classroom to help you do that. So some recommendations based on the 3 LCAP goals. To achieve goal number 1 for an improved academic achievement for all students, higher ADA is needed, of course. If students are not at school, they're unable to achieve. To lessen the amount of unnecessary programs, such as the MPDL, which is the new pedagogy for deeper learning. And this focuses more on why scores are low. The MPDL was a project-based learning that basically the district bit off more than they could chew, and they've scrapped it after 2 years, which leads to being consistent in implementing programs. If you're going to adopt a program, be consistent with it. Don't just say, okay, we're going to do it, then all of a sudden quit it. So capturing kids' hearts. Hopefully they take that this year, see what adjustments need to be made, and continue with it next year, not just scrap the program. Find ways to make it better. They do need to give teachers the support that they need, paraeducators, and also supplying resources. A couple years ago, teachers were given a $250 budget to buy resources for the classroom. This year alone, that has been cut down to absolutely $0. To achieve goal number 2, develop a healthy school climate. Capturing Kids' Hearts initiative. Also some extracurricular programs and activities to entice students to just be on school as much as possible, get them excited about it. They need to provide extensive training and professional development and English language development, special education, and the ELL learners. They're expecting teachers that aren't specifically trained, some don't even speak a foreign language, to take these learners that are having difficulties with English and just as they're doing their whole classroom without a paraeducator, they're expecting them to teach these students as well, which is causing some turmoil and some grief amongst some of the teachers. But as we all know, teachers are tough as nails, and we find a way to get through it. Goal number 3, the way to achieve that, engaging families and community in effective educational partnerships. 1, be proactive. Communicate constantly with parents. Make sure parents know what's going on, what's expected of them, what can they do to help out. Like I said, there's big companies that are helping out donate things, but although the parents might be low income, there are also still ways they can volunteer time and be part of. They just need to get their kids to school for one. That's a perfect way to start. Have your kid get to school. And we need to encourage parents to be more involved in their children's education, like getting them to school, volunteer in the classroom, volunteer for book fair, anything we can just to get the community together to get through this difficult time that they're going through right now. Like I said, most of this was found on government websites, the CDE, the EdData website, the NCES website, but the best information I actually found was from the Southern Kern Unified School District home website. So thank you guys. Hopefully you learned a little bit about this district. Like I said, it's difficult times, but grin and bear and get through it. It is what it is right now. So name the cliche. There's no getting upset about it is not going to help anything. So hopefully things will get better for this district, and we'll have our fingers crossed. So once again, thank you guys for watching my slideshow, and I can't wait to see everybody else's. Have a good one.